Alright, let's just call it like it is. Gen Z doesn't want to work. Your uncle's been yelling it at Thanksgiving for 5 years straight. Every time someone passes the mashed potatoes, he launches in a TED talk about kids these days and how back in his day, he bought a house for a nickel and a handshake. Meanwhile, you're just trying to enjoy your meal without snapping. And look, usually I'd roast the guy, I'd roll my eyes and start mentally preparing my counter-argument about late-stage capitalism or whatever, but not today. Today I'm gonna do something bold, dangerous even. I'm gonna become the uncle. Yeah, I'm putting on the New Balance sneakers, and for the next few minutes, we're gonna look at this whole Gen Z work refusal thing through Uncle Jim's eyes. So buckle up, because Uncle Logic is about to take us somewhere wild. Now, if you ask your uncle, you know, the one who still wears jeans to weddings and calls every young person champ, he'll tell you that student debt is a rite of passage. Back in my day, we took out loans, worked hard, and earned our degrees, built character, built grit, built America. He says this while drinking a light beer he's been nursing for 45 minutes. And to be fair, he believes it. To him, borrowing $60K to go to college isn't crazy. It's normal, responsible adult thing to do. But here's the thing Uncle Jim doesn't quite get. College today is not the same as it was in 1982. Back then, your tuition was like $1,200 a year, and you could pay it off by flipping burgers all summer. Now, you could work full-time, eat ramen every day, and still end up graduating with a debt that looks like you bought a luxury car. Except instead of getting a car, you got a piece of paper that nobody cares about. Uncle Jim says it's an investment. An investment, you say? Let's do the math. You borrow tens of thousands of dollars for a degree, graduate, and maybe land a job that pays enough to cover rent, groceries, and your monthly loan payment. But if you don't, congrats, welcome to the lifelong debt hamster wheel. Meanwhile, Uncle Jim's generation got to buy houses with their diploma in one hand and handshake in the other. You get unpaid internship and a LinkedIn account. So yeah, Uncle Jim means well. He thinks student debt builds character. But from our side of the fence, it looks a lot more like a slow-motion financial disaster. One you sign into before your brain isn't even fully developed. It's not grit, it's trap. Your uncle used to make fun of you for living with your parents. He used to roll his eyes when he heard that another 25-year-old moved back home. He thought it was a failure to launch. He cracked jokes about mom doing your laundry. But now, Uncle Jim's doing the math. Because while he's spending $700 a month just to keep his truck fueled and his heating bill looks like a car payment, you're out there saving 80% of your income, eating leftovers and watching Netflix on your parents' account like a financial pro. And sure, maybe your bed has dinosaur sheets, maybe your mom still reminds you to wear sunscreen, but who cares? You're not blowing half of your paycheck on rent. You're not draining your savings on the furniture made of plywood. You're stacking cash and slowly becoming the one person in the family who might actually retire before the age of 90. Meanwhile, Uncle Jim's starting to squint at Zillow listings and wonder if he should move back with his mom. So yes, living with your parents isn't lazy, it's legendary. Sometimes the basement is just the penthouse of smart financial planning. Uncle Jim used to get real heated about handouts. He'd yell at TV, yapping about kids these days wanting free stuff. You have heard the rant. Back in my day, you didn't sit around waiting for a check. You worked. You earned your keep. You pulled yourself by the bootstraps, even if these bootstraps were held together with duct tape and stubbornness. But then he saw something on the news that froze his brain a little. Turns out, most big companies are getting help too. Not just help, buckets of it. Like billions of dollars in bailouts, subsidies, tax breaks, grants, you name it. Uncle Jim's jaw hit the floor. Wait. You're telling me Apple gets help paying its bills? But if a 20-year-old asks for rent relief, he's suddenly the downfall of Western civilization? Yup, welcome to America, Uncle Jim. where corporations are basically on government-funded life support, but it's only a handout when poor people get it. The best part, Gen Z saw through this mess before anyone else. They looked at how half of the companies on the stock market are losing money every quarter, but still surviving because some government check is keeping them afloat. And they said, I'll just do the same thing, but with less paperwork. Living at home, welfare. Skipping college, avoiding financial collapse. Unemployed but surviving, that's just lean operations, baby. Gen Z isn't lazy. They're just copying what every Fortune 500 company already does. Cut costs, maximize efficiency, and get help wherever possible. Uncle Jim had it backward all along. Turns out Gen Z are not losing at life. They're just outcapitalizing the capitalists. Uncle Jim looks around and realizes, wait a minute, who's actually draining the system here? He's not working. He hasn't for years. He gets checks in the mail just for existing. His doctor's visits are subsidized, his rent is covered by a pension, and he still complains about free bread at restaurants not being warm enough. Meanwhile, Gen Z, they're juggling 3 jobs with no benefits, fighting off depression with overpriced iced coffee, and driving Uber until 3 a.m. just to afford a mattress on the floor of a shared apartment with 4 roommates and 1 bathroom that never has toilet paper. And the worst part, they're the ones being called lazy. Uncle Jim blinks. He stares into the middle distance, mind racing. The remote slips from his hand. Fox News anchor keeps talking bullshit, but he doesn't hear it anymore. He's having what scientists might call a crisis of economic self-awareness. He whispers to himself, am I the problem, not Gen Z? Yo, so if you're Gen Z, here's the takeaway. Don't let Uncle Jim's yapping get to you. Yes, he's loud. Yes, he has strong opinions. But deep down, even he's starting to see the truth. You're not lazy. You're navigating a broken system with creativity, resilience, and memes. You're budgeting rent with 3 side hustles, dodging student debt like it's lava, and learning how to outmaneuver a world that was stacked against you before you even logged in. So keep going, keep cutting costs, setting boundaries, and questioning the nonsense. Uncle Jim might never admit it out loud, but he's already watching you outsmart the game he thought you had to lose.